Hey everyone, so here's something interesting. The latest Mortal Kombat movie is already out in Malaysia since 8th of April. You know, I could have gone and watched it by now, but I heard that there were some parts that were cut out because it's too gory, it's rated R, and yeah, Malaysia censor board logic. So with that, I decided to wait out for the streaming version on HBO Max because it will be uncensored. So while waiting for the movie, I have decided to take a trip down the memory lane of the original Mortal Kombat in 1995. But is it good as I remembered? Mortal Kombat! Obviously, the best thing about this movie is none other than the theme song of Mortal Kombat. It's called Techno Syndrome. It's performed and produced by the Immortals. This song is so iconic that until today, people still recognize it as the main theme of Mortal Kombat. Even people who don't play Mortal Kombat, they will recognize this song. You know, that is the legacy of the soundtrack, and it has been used quite well in the movie. It was used in the opening credit scene, it was used in some fights here and there, and yeah, like, you know what, enough said, hands down, one of the best soundtracks ever made for a movie. Also, some Mortal Kombat's characters in the movie are quite spot on. I personally thought that Sanshong, Kano, Sonya Blade, Johnny Cage, Liu, they did quite good actually. And Lord Raiden in the movie is kind of funny because he acts so serious sometimes, and sometimes he can be a bit goofy, which I thought it was quite an interesting take on the character. It's interesting to note that most of these characters in the original Mortal Kombat, most of them were never seen in other mainstream movies after that, and some they still continued, but you know, in lesser known movies. But hey, you know, whatever, these characters, I thought they did great and they nailed the character. As the movie based on a video game, there's bound to be some catchphrases to be spoken throughout the film. Flawless victory. Finish him! And it works so well in the movie despite being so cheesy, so campy. And it's fine, you know, I kinda love it. It really hits right here as a fan of Mortal Kombat. Obviously, by all means, Mortal Kombat is not exactly a great movie. I mean, sure, I enjoy some of the nostalgia here and there, but you know, looking back, it didn't really age well. When I finished watching the movie, I was actually taken by surprise that Paul Anderson, the guy who ruins your favorite video games on movies, it was his second film actually. So if you're familiar with Paul Anderson's horrible movies over the years, yeah. Actually, I find that in the beginning of the movie, it was a bit draggy because they had to introduce the three main characters, which are Liu, Johnny Cage, and Sonya Blade. And it took like 40 minutes just to get everything ready and for the Mortal Kombat tournament to commence. So for me, you know, the pacing was really draggy. It's so slow, and you know, right after the action, still more talking. On top of that, the plot writing also involved a lot of convenience. One instance that I can think on top of my head is when Sonya, Liu, and Johnny Cage, when they just got together on the boat, it's like suddenly, hey, we're like best friends now. And you know, absolutely no reason at all. Like, I mean, sure, Mortal Kombat not known for having an amazing story to begin with, but I just don't like how draggy it is overall. Another thing that didn't age well is the technology and props of that time. You can argue that, you know, it was 1995, right? It's not so advanced like now. But you know, the movie Jurassic Park was released in 1993 and it still looks quite amazing until today. I guess it has something to do with like budget constraints and of course the studio who was handling the animations at that time. And the costumes for Sub-Zero and Scorpion, it's like they just walked into some thrift shop and say, hey look, there's a ninja outfit, let's get two of those and paint it yellow and blue. Oh yeah, there's also a reptile in the movie, and I guess that makes it 3. And let's paint it green. Man, I guess they were just following what was in the video games because that's how they were designed originally anyway. Last of all, another least favorite thing about the movie is that the fighting choreography is actually kind of basic for me. Disclaimer, I'm not trying to say that I know all the karate or kung fu moves, but you know, as a spectacle for the audience, most of the fighting scenes are kind of just like hit, block, kick, block, spin, flying kick. Yeah, and maybe due to budget constraints, they probably were not allowed to use too much special effects on magic moves like from Sub-Zero and Scorpion. There was also one scene, right, where Goro was sent to defeat and kill other human combatants. This scene just shows the humans dropping on the ground over and over again. And when I was watching that scene, I was thinking to myself like, wow, were they so tight on budget that they just couldn't afford to do a full fighting scene? And they just, you know, use the easy way out, like just show them falling on the ground. So overall, Mortal Kombat is not really a great movie as we thought, but it is a cult classic. For me, it's a kind of movie that is so bad that is so good, you know, that kind. Anyway, I can't wait to see the latest Mortal Kombat soon on HBO Max. Let me know down in the comments what was your most memorable thing about the original Mortal Kombat. I'm signing out. Ciao.